For my gun. Man, welcome back to another episode of the Think Successfully Room. This is a platform where we focus on building mindsets, we building character, bringing value to both you and your people, and aligning your body with your intelligence. I'm your host, QB So Effing Amazing. And I decided to go solo in the Think Successfully Room today, y'all. So as always, I talk about how big I am on protection, right, and why it's so important to me, right? So I wanna share a story with y'all and how that came about, right? So I want to say this might have been in 2018, maybe mid 2018, towards the end of 2018. It was late at night. I got a phone call from my little brother, right? He said, bro, and he sounded very hyped up, he was panicking. He was like, man, bro, tell me why our mama boyfriend, our OG boyfriend, just ran her down the street with a loaded gun, right? She ran to his mom's house crying. So I start panicking, like, damn, where's sis at? Bro, she in the basement hiding under the pool table. So I immediately, I began getting emotional, right? Because one thing I don't like is when people I love is being put in harm's way, right? So mind y'all, at this point, I had a Ford car for 5 years. Never once decided to buy a gun until that happened. So what I went to do is the following day, I was still angry at that point. The following day, I went and purchased a Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 from Cap Guns in Loves Park, Illinois. It's Leo's right now. Leo was over there in Loves Park by the police station, and then he later moved to Cap Guns, but I ended up getting my first gun from Cap Guns. So I walk into the gun shop, fired up, angry, and I purchased a Smith & Wesson. So this is my first time purchasing a gun, so I'm not really sure how the process is as far as purchasing a firearm, right? So I'm thinking I was gonna go in there, purchase the gun, and then walk out that same day. They said, nah. I'm like, well, how long I gotta wait for it? Well, you gotta wait at least 3-4 days until your background clear. And the second reason is that we have people wait to come pick up their firearm because we don't want you to come in here with the intentions of going to harm somebody else because you upset. Cool. So at this point, I had already purchased the gun. After 4 days, true enough, I came down. I was no longer upset. But now I had a gun. Now, mind y'all, I'm not really too familiar with firearms and how they function. But by me having one now, I knew I had to familiarize myself with it. Let me go and put that on silence. I'm sorry about that. So, never been familiar with a gun before. So, I ended up loading the clip to the gun, putting the loaded clip inside the gun. So, the gun was loaded for a good 2-3 days. So now I'm sitting here contemplating. All right, I want to rack the slide back. So I racked the slide back on the gun. So now I have a hot round in the chamber. So that's when I started panicking because I didn't know how to eject the round, right? So I go to YouTube. I'm watching maybe 10, 15 different videos on how to eject this round. And the reason why I watch 15 different videos is because I want to make sure that everybody is doing it the same exact way. They told me to keep my finger off the trigger, outside the trigger guard, keep the gun pointed in the safe direction, rack the slide back, the pistol, the cartridge should come out. I'm like, all right, cool. So let me try it. I keep the gun pointed in the safe direction. I release the magazine, right? I keep my finger outside the trigger guard, rack the slide back. The cartridge came flying out. So I felt more comfortable at that point. I want to share something with y'all. So whenever you do a new task, that new task is what creates a a new neurological system for that particular task, right? And the more you do that task, the stronger that neurological system become. And this is what helps you become more skilled at it, and this is what creates memory. It's almost like how when you was a kid, you rode your bike 100 times. So you can sit here and go 5 years without riding a bike, hop on that bike and get to going with no problem at all. That's exactly what it was with the gun, right? So once I became comfortable with it, I grew to, I fell in love with them. I think that same year, or maybe that following year, I ended up going like $15,000 in debt buying guns because I was that addicted to them, right? So, but most importantly, I realized that when that situation took place, that I was acting off of emotion. You know, I was acting in a way that I normally wouldn't act. I realized that my emotions is what was driving me in the opposite direction and preventing me from achieving a higher level of self. So once I realized that, that's when I knew, like, okay, let me just learn how to respect the gun. Even though I went and purchased it for the wrong reasons, I began to respect them. I began to enjoy them. I began to collect them. I started treating it as a hobby. And I bought so many guns, like, it's almost like how a shoe fanatic, right? A shoe fanatic probably got 100 shoes, maybe 150 different shoes, right? So he walk in his closet, he looking at his shoes, trying to see which pair he wanna kill him with tonight, right? Me, I need 150 guns. As a matter of fact, I need a house just for my guns. So when you walk in, it's gonna look like a gun museum. I need them many goddamn guns, right? The second gun I bought was a, where is that, man? This is the second gun I bought after the Smith & Wesson. This is a Sig Sauer 1911, We the People edition. So this gun I actually bought with the stimmy check. The same stimulus check y'all was in Best Buy with, purchasing TVs and arcade machines and microwaves and shit. I took my stimulus check and I bought this with it, right? What's unique about this particular gun is that, so when you look at the handles, it has 25 stars on each side of the handle, right? And that represents the 50 states. And then also the finish on it is very washed up. It's vintage looking. And then it has 1776 on the side of the gun. So if you know the year 1776, that's the year that the Declaration of Independence was signed, right? And then if you look at the top of the gun, it's 13 stars making a circle that represents the 13 colonies. And then the sights on the gun, the front and the rear sights, are sights that glow in the dark. Okay. So after all of this, just going through all of that process, from the reason why I bought my first gun to me growing to love guns, I realized that in order for us to continue to be safe, we have to become unified. And when I say we have to become unified, like, we have to learn how to move as one. So I'm in the process of creating I guess you could call it like a Bible. So the same way I will move in any given situation, in a dangerous situation, I need the people around me to move the same exact way, right? So let's say, like, we went out to an establishment or something, and somebody came in, shots go up in the air. I know what to do, but the people around me don't necessarily know what to do. So they get to panicking, yelling, not knowing exactly how to move in this situation. So my goal is to put together a Bible that I can translate my same skills and my education as far as how to survive in that Bible, and I'm gonna pass it to them so they can follow, so they can read on the same strategies and the skills that I have. So when everybody is out and about in these establishments and something happened, it ain't no question. Ain't nobody talking, ain't nobody yelling. Man, I thought I put the goddamn phone on silent, man. Ain't nobody talking, ain't nobody yelling. We all just move, right? We all move accordingly. We know exactly how to move, how to get up out of there safe, and exactly where to meet up at. So that's what I realized when that took place, man. I have to put together a system that's going to make sure that my mother is going to be okay. That's going to make sure that my brothers is going to be fine. My little sister, maybe friends that I call my brother. That is the system that I have to put in place to make sure that my people is safe, right? See what else. So the reason why I tend to go so hard as far as my education and just my training. Now, I wanna remind y'all of something, is that these trainings, tactical classes, whatever the case may be, they not cheap. And I realized that the people around me can't necessarily afford to take tactical classes. So I made it my priority to sit here and invest money to take tactical classes, be taught certain tactics and skills, and then I'm gonna take those same tactics and skills and bring them back to my people and show them exactly what I was taught. The only difference is I will be certified and they wouldn't be certified, right? So that became very important, right? So at some point I'm gonna have to have maybe once a week, where I gather up everybody, my circle, just gather up everybody, and we go through different procedures and topics on how to be safe in certain situations. And this is how I know that everybody is, even when I'm not around, this is how I would know everybody is capable of being safe, is being able to meet up on a weekly basis, going through different tactics and skills and procedures. And that way, when the time is right, they know exactly how to apply it. Yeah, so I mean, without that being said, protection is very important. It's definitely a foundation, especially for a man. When it comes to your household, you have to have these type of skills and tactics in place in order to make sure your household is safe. I'm talking about from your wife all the way down to your children, because everybody should have to move as one. We all should know exactly how to move as one, and that's very important. So yeah, I just had to keep that real brief. I didn't want to take up too much time. That's part of the reason why I decided to go solo on this one, is because I actually wanted to vent, because this is something that I think about on a daily basis. It's different ways and that I can show my people how to be safe even when I'm not around them, to protect them. So without that being said, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out, y'all. Life is good. Life is wonderful. Be blessed to be alive. Self-sufficiency is how you survive. To the kings and queens, to the guys and goddess, forever and always, my nigga. Think successfully. Yeah.